It's almost election time, and the ruling party, ZANU-PF, will be itching to reverse the long-standing trend where it has been losing to the opposition in urban constituencies. Good evening. I'm Catherine Munyuki. Welcome to Vantage. Tonight on the program, we are joined by ZANU-PF Harare Provincial spokesman, Mr. Goodwills Masimirembwa. Chairman.
Chairman.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Guthrie. Good evening.
Since 2000, the ruling party has not been faring well and has not been triumphant in successive national elections in urban constituencies because it has been losing to the opposition. As we go into 2023 elections, do you feel that you're about to change this long-standing trend this time around?
Certainly, Guthrie. ZANU-PF is going to change this losing trend. This losing trend was fueled by a decline in the economy brought about by illegal sanctions when Zimbabwe was being punished for embarking on the land reform program. The land reform program itself being the basis of the liberation struggle. Zimbabwe did not go back on the land reform program. I recall, in fact, when we held a rally at Borodale towards the 2018 harmonized elections, His Excellency had just come in 2017, and he reiterated that we will not go back on the land reform program because it was the basis of the liberation struggle, and in any event, it is the basis of our economy. And because of Zimbabwe's resilience, people are beginning to see now that although we suffered under sanctions, those who were promoted by the West, the opposition, to bring about change, to bring about economic development in this country, failed to do so. It is particularly glaring in Harare when you look at the province itself as Harare Metropolitan Province, that despite the fact that the opposition has been in control of the local authorities, they've dismally failed to deliver service to the people. And on the other hand, His Excellency the President, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, has embarked on a crusade to ensure that the economy comes back on track. His mantra that no place, no one will be left behind. His mantra that economics with politics is the way to go. His mantra that the country is developed and ruled by its owners. Nyika inovakwa nekutongwa nevene vayo. That itself has brought about in Zimbabweans integrity, a realization that we are our own liberators, that moving forward we have to do it for ourselves. And the progress that has taken place in this country in the last 4 or so years is tremendous. It's actually extraordinary. It's signature project after signature project by His Excellency the President. And people are beginning to know and realize that it is not America which will bring $10 billion to develop this country or any other country for that matter. There is a program going on which is funded by funds sourced by His Excellency the President, the Morton Jeffrey Waterworks. For us to get that water coming into Harare, it was because of the US $9 million, which was sourced by His Excellency and availed to the local authority here in Harare.
Very interesting. In some instances, it's like you were taking words from my mouth. Because I was going to talk about all these things that you spoke about, which the ZANU-PF-led government has been doing to uplift the lives of ordinary people,
Yes.
as well as making sure that we improve the economy.
Yes.
One would ask, is this all lost? Or will this be all lost? And if it is all lost, why would then the opposition still benefit when ZANU-PF is doing all these things. So some have said the issue is that, yes, the opposition run councils, they have performed dismally. There is no service provision to talk about. But on the other hand, a lot of Zimbabweans, including civil servants, have lost their hard-earned money to land barons with links to ZANU-PF. Do you believe that the issue of land barons is at the heart of ZANU-PF struggling to win back the urban constituencies?
We do not support illegal land barons. And the party has come out very clear on this. They must be arrested, be prosecuted. Due process must take course. But where I disagree is to say at the heart of ZANU-PF's problems are land barons linked to ZANU-PF. Now, when you look at illegal land parceling, you need to go to the city councils themselves, what the councillors have been doing, where golf courses have been turned into residential stands, where infields in suburbs have been taken over unprocedurally, unlawfully by council officials. You see, because of His Excellency's crusade against corruption, the anti-corruption drive, ZAC has arrested a lot of these councillors and council officials for corruption, for illegally dealing in land. In Harare Metropolitan Province, in Chitungwiza Urban Council, and in Epworth Local Board. So, first of all, you want to situate illegal activities with regards to land in the councils themselves. When they took over control of councils, they threw away the whole idea of waiting lists. We used to know that if you want a house, you don't have a house, you go on a council waiting list, and when the next chance comes, you get it. They threw that away. Councillors went in, took over the powers of management in councils, and they began to allocate land themselves. And so illegal land activities started with councillors.
All right, Chairman Masimirembwa, you talk about you need to situate the situation and the problems. Let's situate ourselves. We are at a time where we need to take a break. We'll come back and deal with all things that you're talking about. Please don't go away. We are tonight with ZANU-PF Provincial Chairman, Mr. Goodwills Masimirembwa. We'll be back after the short break. Welcome back. Chairman Masimirembwa, before we went for the break, you spoke about the measures that the government and His Excellency are taking to make sure that those who have been involved in corruption, involving legal parceling of land, would be brought to account for their deeds. I'll let you go on and explain further.
Yes, so whilst there are people who are linked to ZANU-PF who have been involved in these illegal activities, it is important to situate the problem from whence it started. And those, of course, in ZANU-PF, there is no apology for it. They should be arrested, they should be prosecuted, due process should take place. But what is critical with regards to land, to these illegal land activities, is that the government has put a stop to them and provided a solution. His Excellency has undertaken or has said that people will be regularized, whilst the land barons will be prosecuted. Those who parted with their hard-earned money will have the places where they've been, which they've bought, regularized if they are suitable for accommodation. If they are not suitable for accommodation, the people will be relocated to suitable land spaces. So whilst the criminals are being dealt with, there is a solution which ensures that those who lost their hard-earned money do not lose out. So you can see that the government, particularly His Excellency, has provided a solution to the problem.
Well done. But here's the issue. When will this happen? Will this happen before the elections or after the elections? Because if I am somebody who stays in Harare or Greater Harare, and I lost my hard-earned money to these criminals that we are talking about, who may have been using your name as ZANU-PF in vain, will I vote for ZANU-PF? This is where I was coming from. When I asked that, people, they will say, but we lost our things too, because there is no immediate remedial action insofar as those things are concerned. So, as Harare province, ideally, in what mood and in what environment would you want to go into those 2023 elections?
Well, remedial action is a process. It's not an overnight thing. So as ZANU-PF, we've reached out to the affected communities, and we are taking His Excellency's message to the people. But at the same time, His Excellency himself has gone out to the people. You recall, for example, when he was addressing the Epworth community and he was talking about title deeds, he also spoke about regularization. And the process of surveying the land for the purpose of issuing title deeds is almost complete in Harare South, in Epworth, and other parts of Harare. So the government is busy now working on the regularization process. That is the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, working together with the Ministry of Local Government and of National Housing. They are fully seized with the matter. And we, as foot soldiers of ZANU-PF, are on the ground, assuring those who lost their hard-earned money that it is not all lost. His Excellency has provided a solution where the thieves will be prosecuted, or the alleged thieves will be prosecuted, but those who lost their hard-earned money will be regularized or be provided with alternative pieces of land to build their houses.
Before I move next to my point, Chairman, people might want to know that ZANU-PF or ZANU-PF's name and the President's name have been used so many times by people wanting to engage in criminal activities. And what have you done to make sure that there's no repeat of such kind of name dropping?
What is clear, and His Excellency and the party are very clear on this, anyone who name drops will be prosecuted. And indeed, people are being punished.
The issue of delimitation is a hot topic at the moment. And as ZANU-PF, what are your expectations at the end of the current delimitation exercise?
Well, first of all, delimitation is governed by sections 160 and 161 of the Constitution. And essentially, when you are, our expectations are that ZEC will have regard to those provisions, and we have no doubt they will have regard to those provisions. What is critical for an urban province like Harare is when you are coming up with the number of constituencies, you are guided by the provisions of Section 161, where you are looking at how densely are people populated in your area, the ease of communication, and other issues stated there. But what is clear is that urban constituencies must be far bigger in terms of population than rural constituencies. It is more difficult. Communication in rural constituencies, they cover large geographical spaces and so on. So our expectation in Harare is the worst case scenario, we should maintain the 29 constituencies we have. The best case scenario is that those 29 constituencies must come down. The reason is very simple. As at 30 May 2022, Harare had registered voter population of about 952,000. And with 29 constituencies, it means the mean figure for our constituencies is around 27,000. But the Constitution allows to go 20% up or 20% down, taking into consideration the issues I've raised. How densely populated are you, etc., etc. When you look at an urban constituency, you will have 32,000 in an area which you will cover maybe in 1 hour. Whereas a rural constituency, 30,000 people, you need to travel about 200 kilometers. You understand?
Yeah.
And so rural constituencies must enjoy the lower limit, 27,000, 20% down. Us here, 27,000, 20% up. So when you then divide 952,000 with the number of constituencies we have in Harare, we should actually come down to around 29, the most, or come down. Mm-hmm. When it comes towards...
we'll come back to that. I'm being reminded that we have to pay rent.
All right.
Please stay with us. We are with ZANU PF Provincial Chairperson for Harare Province, Mr. Goodwills Masimirembwa. Please don't go away. We'll be back. Welcome back to the final segment of this week's Vantage. Chairman Masimirembwa, the issues that you've raised on delimitation are very critical. I need you to simplify for me and the viewers. You said rural areas, in terms of richness,
yes,
and communication,
they're a lot easier.
They're a lot easier.
Because we are looking at adequate representation.
Yes.
So imagine you are in a rural constituency where you have to travel 200 kilometers. Because to get to 30,000 people in a rural constituency where people have 3 hectares, 4 hectares, and so on, is an uphill task. So we are saying when you look at when you read the constitution, in rural constituencies, you should use the lower limit.
Yeah.
In order to get the number of registered voters for a constituency.
Yes, because they are sparsely populated.
They are sparsely populated. Whereas in urban setups like Harare, we are densely populated. Mm-hmm. To get to 30,000, it's a few blocks of flats, and people are on 150 square meters, 300 square meters, yes, as their residential stands.
Yes.
Yeah, the biggest ones, on average, probably 2,000 square meters, 3,000 square meters. So a small geographical area, you have the number. So we should go up of the 27,000, 20% up or even more, because you always have outliers. So when you use that formula, it's a scientific formula provided for in the Constitution.
Okay, I don't want to get into that too much, because for the easier understanding of what you've said.
Yeah.
So in short, where you've got densely populated people, like in urban areas,
yes,
let's say, in this case, Harare province,
yes,
you would want the number of constituencies reduced, either maintained at 29 or reduced from 29.
Exactly.
So people then they will ask, if they are reduced from 29, it means you are actually alienating the voters that might be, or disenfranchising the voters that could have been voting for the opposition. Is that correct?
No, it's not disenfranchising.
Yeah.
We are simply saying when you look at adequate representation, they will still be adequately represented. When you look at the voter population in some of the constituencies in Harare, they are way below even the 27,000. So it is only logical that that some of those constituencies should be collapsed and joined with other constituencies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you raise a very interesting point. I grew up in Glenora, yeah, but when I'm supposed to be voting, they say my constituency is Highfield East, but I'm not from Highfield. I am from Glenora. And the people who grew up in Glenora, in the parts of what we used to call Glenora Beamshire Band, up to Glenora Bia Kapanduka Goma Flats, and into Glen V7 and Chitubu, they'll be said they are Glenora. But you are also including other people in other area which is not called by the same name. So, what would be the benefit in an election of having collapsed constituencies?
Well, what we are saying, the Constitution provides.
And no, I hear you.
Yes,
it provides.
So
I hear you.
It provides. So,
yeah,
at the end of the day, it is ZAC's responsibility to ensure that in coming out with the boundaries of the constituencies, they are taking into account issues like community of interest and so on, which matter you do raise. But even taking into account community of interest, there is the overriding fact that you are enjoined to say the number of registered voters in Harare are so many. Divide by the current existing constituencies to come with an average number. Then you move from that average number upwards or downwards, taking into account the various interests like population density, community of interest, and so on.
Fine. On the other hand, the opposition is not advocating for what you are advocating. So, at the end of the day, it is up to ZEC to deal with those issues.
Exactly.
So, do you think the outcome of the delimitation will either aid your chances of retaining the urban constituencies, or it might militate against that?
No, for ZANU-PF, it's not an issue of the delimitation aiding its chances or limiting its chances. It is an issue of doing the correct thing in terms of the constitution, in terms of the law. The issue of winning the hearts and minds of the people is based and bedrocked on the achievements of ZANU-PF, on the achievements of the Second Republic, on what His Excellency has done for this nation and is doing for this nation. And we are saying he has done extraordinary work, that it justifies retaining him, giving him another 5 years, and giving ZANU-PF the opportunity to rule in terms of the local councils and also in terms of members of parliament. But we are saying delimitation is a scientific process to a large extent, an emotional process here and there, but we are simply saying the correct thing must be done. We must come with constituencies which can be supported by our constitutional provisions.
I'll go to an issue which has historically raised emotions. The primary elections. I know for a fact that previously you've had problems in the province, but you're not alone. But almost everyone, including the opposition, they've had similar issues of disgruntlement and disagreements arising out of the outcomes of party internal processes such as primary elections. Are you in the current situation in a good stead to make sure that you hold smooth primary elections that would also re-energize everyone, including those who have lost, to do better for the Harare province, ZANU-PF, in the elections?
You know, for ZANU-PF, we have a great teacher in our president. There is so much peace and tranquility in the party, cohesion in the party. I'm speaking about Harare Metropolitan Province. We had our primaries for the by-elections. There is really, yes, when people go for by-elections, there is bound to be a little squeezing here and there. But by and large and fundamentally, we are one team, solidly behind the president, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, heading for victory come 2023. People in Zimbabwe, the president's mantra has been do politics but also make money. So instead of wasting time fighting about if you try and it doesn't happen, try your luck at making money and supporting the party and the president. There are so many good things to do. His Excellency has brought so much life to this country, so much life to the party. We will not waste time fighting over, I've lost in a primary. We support the one who has won, and we move on to win the elections.
Chairman Masimirembwa, on that note, I would like to thank you for having made time to be with us on Vantage. And it is interesting that you raise a point that many people always say, that we've got a different president who believes that people must make money. And indeed, people must make money. I thank you for having made time to be with us.
Thank you, Guthrie. It has been a joy being on your program.
Thank you very much. There you are, Harare province, hoping to end the horrendous run against the opposition in the national harmonized elections. And at the heart of its strategy is to do well, support the programs of the government, and ride on them, and to make sure that everyone is not left behind. So he said. Good evening.